Today's episode is brought to you by the Vegas Beer Guys.
Everything sequel contains explicit language. And why the fudge not, you melon farmer?
Hello and welcome to the Everything Sequel Podcast. This is the Final Destination Edition. We're pitching sequels today. My name is Michael Shantz. I'm from the How Dare You Awards. With me, as always, is Tom Stewart from Lonesome Whistle Productions. Tommy, how you doing?
They're dying in order. The most quoted line from this series.
Yeah, absolutely. Every one of these movies starts to bend towards a Scooby-Doo episode when they're trying to figure out the order.
Oh, absolutely. Well, which is why that in The Final Destination, that usual suspects level reveal is really not warranted. We've not had a very complicated plot.
No. So, speaking of which, we're pitching sequels today.
We are.
We've talked at length about these movies and the manner in which they present themselves and how you could set your watch by how they present themselves to us. So here's what I'm most interested in. In the pitch a sequel segment, do we need to go beyond the inciting incident? Is it just which accidents do you like best? Like, what's your accident, you know?
What's your accident? Yeah, well, I think you, with my pitch you will, but it'll become clear why.
All right.
But because I'm also cognizant of the fact that this series wraps up so well.
Yeah, exactly.
That I don't really want to compete on the same ground. So I'm really.
It's funny you say that,
because really what I've done with my picture sequel this time, differently from other times, is I've kind of noted the plot holes in each movie, and kind of built a movie around that. So this would not flow from Final Destination 5 in the same way that previous movies do.
And am I understanding that your movie will the timestamp of your movie will take place during all of the movies? Is that what you mean by?
In a way,
yeah?
It does. Yeah, in a way, it does.
Well, tell me about it then, because now I'm fucking fascinated.
Well, this movie is called The Final Explanation. Right? It's a movie made in the mockumentary style.
Oh, okay.
So it's a fictional movie posing as a documentary. Yes. Let me back up.
By all means.
So
beep, beep, beep.
This movie, a man's head has just been cut off. It's a pale ale truck. This movie is set in our present day, 2020. That's 9 years from the events of Final Destination 5.
Right.
Here's what's happened. So in Final Destination 2, we get two pieces of information that have kind of been forgotten about, but are very important. The first is that it's announced at the beginning of the film that the public now accepts the Grim Reaper exists.
Okay? Right.
And this is never referred to again. Everyone seems completely surprised when the Grim Reaper appears, killing people through pigeons and the like. And later on in the movie, we discover that every time someone cheats death, there's a ripple effect that affects a kind of exponential number of people. So, in 2020, after 4 major incidents of people cheating death, the ripple effect of that is killing.
Wait, are they all together or?
No. The ripple effect of all those.
The previous.
Yeah.
Okay.
From Final Destination 3 to from Flight 180 through to 5.
Yes.
The ripple effect of that is now that people are dying in huge numbers around America. Pigeon-related fatalities are at an all-time high. Every time you have a glass of water, a plug falls in it and you're gone.
You're gonna see the news turned on, and the newscaster will say another tanning bed fatality today.
Yep. Funny you should mention that, the news reporter, because what's happened is you remember at the beginning of Final Destination 2, there was a news journalist interviewing
oh yes,
a man who believed in death and said that now there's proof that death exists.
Mm-hmm.
So that man that he was interviewing is now the president of America.
Oh my god!
Because everyone is now accepted with the number of deaths, the other people that are dying around the country, because death is kind of catching up with his accounts on a daily basis. That this guy was telling the truth all along, and now he is the president, and he has banned wholesale the pursuit of science and any rational explanation for death. Which means that the journalist that he was talking to at the beginning of Final Destination 2 has been fired from his job. He's no longer allowed to be a newscaster because he still believes that there is a scientific, empirical reason why people are dying. That they can all be explained empirically.
Of course.
So he becomes an underground documentary filmmaker and makes a movie called he's making a movie called The Final Explanation, where he looks at all these giant hubs of people cheating death.
Final Explanation.
And he's going through all of the facts about what happened here, using a lot of Agent Block's notes. Mm-hmm. And and the movie is all about proving that there's a rational, empirical explanation for everything that happened. The Grim Reaper does not exist. So, but the problem is that every time this movie tries to do any investigative journalism, we're Lost in La Mancha style storms and accidents keep befalling the production.
Oh, yeah.
But what happens is they manage to prove, let's say the guy who's the lottery winner in
2.
In 2, they were going to prove that his building was going to blow up no matter what. And as soon as they prove that there's an empirical explanation for that, people stop dying in big numbers. And they begin to realize while they're making this movie that the more things they prove with science, the weaker death becomes. So the whole movie is a battle of wits over whether science can defeat the Grim Reaper. That's the movie.
I fucking like that movie.
Yeah. And, let's face it, it's not that different from what 2020 is like in actuality.
Well, and that's the thing.
A president who doesn't believe in science and lots of people dying in big numbers.
Right. And for the second time in a row, not in a row, but we both pitched Gremlins sequels that were very similar. And once again, we're kind of on the same page and of like minds. So when I first started thinking about a sequel, like you, I thought, the problem is that these sequels wrap up so nicely, so it's like, where the fuck do you go?
Yeah.
And then I thought, do you even describe a narrative? Like, to me, it's just, to me, if you just took it on face value, okay, there's going to be one more. Just tell me your accident. You know what I mean?
like saying Final Destination is also a description of the plot.
Of a mode of travel. Yeah, exactly. So to me, it was like, I was like, okay, do you pick train derailment? No, because you already had subway derailment, and it was done really well, and you can't go there. And so to me, it was like, what accident do you pick? And I thought, ooh, what about hot air balloons? That'd be kind of fun. and,
It's like a crossover with Up.
Right. And so then the more I thought about it, I started leaning towards a story that takes place in the White House again.
Oh, interesting.
But with our current resident in the White House.
Huh.
And revolving this entire series and the machinations of sort of the Rube Goldberg, but involving COVID. Now, I started developing this idea before the fucking White House got COVID. Which is where we're at right now.
So basically you engineered this so your pitch would have more relevance.
Right. Right.
Is what you're telling me on air.
And so what I imagined was, instead of seeing like a Slurpee cup on top of an electrical box that goes, like starts sweating and then causes a short that causes the tanning bed to go to 100, that kind of shit. It's the idea of a person who doesn't believe in COVID, like all these characters, don't believe that death can come after them.
Right.
And you have one person who's been lockstep with the president the whole way, and then has a premonition about a person with COVID. And then you see the cough come out, and then it wafts over here, and then it lands on somebody's hand, and then they touch their eyeball, and then they shake hands with somebody. And that's how we're following death through this story. So in that way, I think we're kind of on similar pages or parallel pages, kind of going in the same direction. But I really like the idea in yours of that added component of because like you, I was thinking of a documentary type style,
Right, okay.
Not necessarily including characters, but say, like when you're watching The Shield, and The Shield feels documentary style. So kind of like that.
It is also, to be fair, it is the refuge of the desperate late franchise entry.
Yes, that's
Diary
true.
of the Dead, that kind of thing.
But I do like that aspect that, the empirical science coming into it. That's a nice touch.
Well,
I like that a lot.
It seems to me that in every one of these movies, there's a different way that you can defeat death. So every movie has to have its own hook as to how you defeat death. And it seemed to me that the obvious one here was that science could counter magic, basically.
But so that was the end game for me.
Yeah.
The end game for them getting out of it was finally believing in science.
Yeah.
And but I thought of it more like just watching somebody walk down the hall and then go into a bathroom and wash their fucking hands.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? And put a mask on and that kind of shit.
But I mean, both these pitches kind of speak to the idea that, if the characters in these movies thought about personal safety in a different way,
right? Yeah,
they could defeat the Grim Reaper. Which is something that we never get. That's really the only thing we never get to in the series. I mean, I remember, I think late on in Final Destination 5, someone finally, voices the thing that we're all thinking, which is where they say, one of them says, someone says like, well, why don't you just stay at home? And he's like, it doesn't matter where I am. It's the order we die in.
Right.
It doesn't matter if I'm in a dangerous place or a safe place. I will die because of the order.
Yeah.
And that was like the first. I was like, "Thank you, finally, somebody says it." Because there's this emphasis on like, oh, we just won't go out. We just won't go here. No, it's meaningless.
No.
Um,
Right.
but so I think that was one of the hanging questions. Is like, could you go back to these movies and say, well, as we did, this was the direct result of those fucking kids and bad parenting. You know,
Right,
the
yeah.
fireworks went off in someone's face because those kids were setting off fucking fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That guy's gas pipe is gonna blow because he keeps pouring oil on his fucking stove.
Right.
You know, it's all those questions, and that was what was most prominent to me as like, this is the unanswered bit.
Well, and that's why I liked the idea. That's why I went where I went with my movie,
Yeah.
because it's this White House who won't just say, put on a mask.
Right.
Who won't just say, yeah, let's all wash our hands and stay 6 feet away. The easiest fucking thing for us to do,
Yeah.
you know? And so that's why I liked, going where I did. And of course, it sounds like kind of where you went too.
May I suggest the title Viral Destination?
Nice. You're right. I hadn't even thought of a title.
You never do. It's okay.
No.
I
I'm not-
make them up afterwards. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, it's yeah. No, I think because I even had that struggle of like, I don't even want to use the title of the of the franchise because
Yeah, that, I did have that conscious
I
thought.
actually don't want even my sequel to contaminate this series.
Right.
I want people to watch this and like, in the same way that you watch the Prisoner could be a sequel to Danger Man, but it doesn't necessarily have to be.
Right.
Lilyhammer is a sequel to The Sopranos if you want it to be, but it's not.
If you want it,
don't.
yeah.
And I actively don't want people to think of this as a canon Final Destination movie.
I agree completely, yeah.
I want them to think of this as something that you might find on the DVD or the Blu-ray as an extra.
Yeah, totally.
As almost like a kind of in-universe an in-universe sequel. Well, I guess
Right.
I guess all sequels are in-universe. But what I mean is, it's like,
Well, but it's like the idea of, when a few years ago, The Walking Dead was getting so big for its britches, it was doing these kind of 5-minute shorts
exactly.
on the internet, that kind of shit.
I wanted it.
So I think of it in that way.
It was like basic. No, I know what I wanted. What I know how I'm going to sell it. It's found footage within the Final Destination universe.
Okay. Yeah,
That's the way
that's
I
cool.
want to see. It's like, this is a documentary that exists within the Final Destination universe, but it is not a Final Destination film.
Yeah. I'm with
That's
you and
how
I'm on your
good
page.
This series is, people.
We've said it before and we'll say it again. Go fucking watch these movies.
This is not like, we're coming on to some franchises where there are so many missed opportunities for great sequels out of great material that just doesn't translate.
And that's the weirdest thing about this series, we talked about in the very beginning, where the idea itself seems stupid. And they make the absolute fucking most out of all of it.
Yeah,
They really do.
It's almost as if it's like it's the best it's the best pudding bowl haircut you've ever seen. They put a pudding bowl on your head, cut around it, and every time it looks like fucking Vidal Sassoon did it.
Oh, that's fucking great.
So
all right,
I can't. I can't speak highly enough of this franchise, and so pitching. I can only pitch a tangential sequel to it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, let us know, ladies and gentlemen, if you like Tom's side story,
The final explanation.
the final explanation in which the the documentary film crew is battling through science and either causing or or relieving death
That's basically it, yeah.
by doing so. Or if you like my COVID White House related side shoot,
The viral destination.
the viral destination, let us know at the Everything Sequel at Gmail, or let us know, you can send us an email at everythingsequel@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter, please find us on Instagram, and let us know. If you're listening to us right now, please rate and review us, and tell a friend.
Yeah.
All right. For Tom Stewart, I'm Michael Shantz. Tom, I'll give you the last word.
That's final.
We'll see you next time, everybody. Take care.
I like to think I know something about beer, but nowadays even I get overwhelmed when confronted by the exhaustive selection of craft beers they have at bars, breweries, and even grocery stores. Back in the day you had one, maybe two craft beers to choose from, and if you were confused, you ordered a Guinness. But in beerstinations like San Diego, the craft beer options lately are in double, sometimes even triple digits. So what's a beer drinker to do? You need what I need, the Vegas Beer Guys. Your beer of choice should be a perfect blend of malt and hops. And so a live show about beer needs that same balance. And the Vegas Beer Guys matches beer expert Dan Aker with self-proclaimed beer novice Stephen J. Weiss. The results are eminently drinkable. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. They'll try new beers, they'll tell you about beer. Think of them as your beer Sherpas guiding you up a foamy-headed mountain to reach the peak of your pint. God, I need a beer.